Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy, and I help the helpers, the healers, and the light bringers of this world to live their most magical life. We are going to be diving into this week's energy, what to expect from the energy, what you need to know, and how you can make the most of this week. So we are preparing to wrap up Mercury retrograde. I don't know about you guys, but I am really grateful for this. So that's going to be wrapping up on October 3rd. We'll still have a little bit of like that post shadow energy, but I think that it's going to help the energy to feel a little bit lighter. But until we get there, I think this energy is going to continue to force us to do our work. And quite frankly, even when that goes direct, we still have lots of planets in retrograde, and there's a lot going on and a lot of intensity in the energy. So know that, but I really feel like Mercury retrograde is going out with a bang. Okay, so when I say that, what I mean is I feel like right now there's so much that's happening, there's so much intensity that's building, and there's a lot of opportunity for things to be triggered and for us to find ourselves triggered. Specifically, when I connect with the energy, I feel like it's specifically connected with our insecurities and our fears. And so recognize that when you get triggered, because I think like the immediate response to that is to react and to have a big reaction to that, or however you respond to that. But notice how you are responding to that and try not to be too reactive. Try not to immediately jump in with something with a response, because I think that's gonna get us into some trouble right now if we allow for that to happen. Recognize where you have been triggered. But whenever I connect with this energy or this concept of triggers, I usually hear this idea of your triggers are your responsibility. So what I mean by that is we want to be really, really mindful that we're not doing a lot to blame, to project, to push things on other people. Absolutely, we can communicate with other people. We can say, this is how you've impacted me. This is how you've made me feel. But we ourselves are responsible for the way that we behave in regard to the trigger. Okay. And I think that it's really important. The triggers are coming up for a reason, and they're coming up in order to, number one, help us to have clarity, right? Usually as we are wrapping up a Mercury retrograde, we are starting right about now to connect with a little bit more clarity. I think last week I was talking in my weekly video about how things are starting to make sense. A couple of people said, yeah, no, they're not. And I was saying, nope, they're starting to make sense, right? And when is it ever going to fully, truly make sense? Probably not till we're dead, right? But it's starting to make sense. And I feel like we have more of that energy here in this week as well. If you guys didn't check out the past 2 weekly readings, I talk a lot about Mercury retrograde in those readings. That'll give you a little bit more detail if you're looking for that detail. But anyway, we really want to be mindful of the way that our insecurities, our fears are being stirred up. And part of what I'm feeling called to do with that is to be a little bit more nurturing for ourselves, a little bit more caring, a little bit more kind, a little bit more gentle with ourselves. Definitely we're going to be moving slower and feeling more tired during this retrograde anyway. So taking extra good care of ourselves, letting ourselves use it as an opportunity to take a look at that. Why is this still a trigger for me? Why is this upsetting me? Why, what's going on for me? Or even to give us that clarity of mind that these old insecurities and fears, because it feels to me like old insecurities, old fears from the past being stirred up. The reason these are showing up is that there's still work left for us to do on that. So take a look at that and ask yourself, what do I need to do with this? How do I heal this? How do I work on this? What do I feel called to do? And following that prompt, that intuitive prompt from there to figure out, how do I keep working through this? How do I keep letting this go? And also speaking to yourself really gently and really kindly as you're navigating this, because this is not easy work to do. We also have shifted into Libra season, and I do feel like when on the other side of this retrograde, it can feel just a little bit lighter, or like we're finally going to feel a little bit more like we're wanting to be a little more social, or a little bit more getting out there and connecting with people and things like that. You might not feel that way until a little bit more into next week, but I do feel like we'll see the beginnings of that. So definitely if you're feeling called to get out there, to connect with other people, to have different experiences, I also think that that can be something helpful in navigating this energy. But what I really feel like this energy is sparking for us is this need to do a balance assessment in our life, to take a look at where are certain things out of balance for me and what do I need to do about it. So that might be with, habits that you have, that might be in particular areas of your life, that might be in relationships. Where do I need more balance and what do I need to do about it? So definitely let yourself explore those questions as you are navigating for that. The other thing when I was connecting with the energy, another thing that I wrote down was to take a shot and ask for what you need. Okay, so again, with these triggers coming up, I think that we can find ourselves feeling really emotional, and there may be things that we recognize, this is really what I need. And I think that's part of what this clarity is giving us, is helping us to understand some needs that we have or what it is that we need in order to move forward in a positive way. So sometimes that is going to require us to communicate that to somebody else, or to communicate that, in a relationship, at your work, wherever it is that you're feeling called, wherever it is that you're feeling like, I need to ask for something. I need, in order for me to live a more balanced life, in order for me to have what I need to be at my best, this is what I need to ask for. And I definitely think that there are opportunities this week for us to be able to do that and for that to be successful. Now, when I say successful, you might get a no. It might not work out for you, but it can still be successful for the long term. Whether that leads you into new opportunities, whether that results in that shifting later on down the road. I just feel like this week, it is important that we ask for that and we take that shot and we go for it. You'll feel that push. You'll have that knowing of, I need to communicate this. I need to ask for this. I need to express this. And please don't see it as a failure if you either don't get an answer or if you get a no right away, because what I'm being shown is that is ultimately going to work out for our highest and best for the long term. So you didn't waste your breath by asking for what you need. So keep that in mind if you guys have already started that process. I do also feel like we're still in this energy of, again, like we're building on this clarity that we've been working on. And I do feel like I need to say that in some ways, there may be some hard truths in the mix. That's not for everyone, but part of the feedback that I got last week from people was, yes, I'm starting to see it more clearly, but no, I don't like the answer. No, I don't like what this is going to require me to do, or the changes that this is going to lead to, or I'm scared to follow through with what it is that I'm feeling like I need to. And I feel like I need to say that it's really important that we honor that. It's really important that we listen to that. And it is sometimes the truth is hard. Sometimes it is difficult to accept certain things. And I think part of the healing and the work that we're doing this week is on learning, how do I accept this? Even if I don't like it, even if that didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, even if it's hard to see, this thing as the truth, even if that's difficult for our ego, our soul knows the way and our soul knows what's best for us. And so if we can follow the path of that, that is going to be really, really helpful for us this week. Let's take a look at the cards that I have for you. So the first card that I have is the Moon card in reverse. So this is exactly what I'm talking about with truth floating to the surface. Information that we haven't been able to access. Understanding something that we haven't been able to understand. Truth coming out in some way that, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but ultimately always for our better, right? Understanding this, we just might not like it in the moment. But it doesn't have to be negative either, because I also feel like there may be some confessions coming through or people sharing things that we didn't necessarily, maybe we intuitively felt it, but we didn't know. So some things floating to the surface that just are like, oh, you know what? I intuitively felt that, but I didn't really, I started to doubt myself and I started to question that. So I also feel like there can be some positive things coming through that actually are kind of surprising, exciting news, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The next card that we have here is the Ace of Cups in reverse. Now, this to me is that balance assessment. You know, what is it that I need in my life that's going to help my cup to feel more full? Where do I feel like I'm depleting myself? Where do I feel like I'm giving myself to a situation where I'm not getting the same in return? Or I'm not getting fueled by that. It's depleting to me. I also feel like we may be taking a look at, what doesn't align for us anymore in terms of relationships specifically, but other things as well. What isn't serving me anymore? What do I continue to give to that isn't giving to me in return? Hi, Kyle. Nice to see you on here. The next card that we have is the Two of Wands. From this clarity, from this assessment of where do we go next, we're here trying to figure out where do we go next? What path are we going to take? What direction do we want to go in? But there's like this energy that I feel with this card right now, that there's such a sense of, when we get to this place here in this week, kind of a sense of optimism, kind of a sense of hope, kind of a sense of, you know what? I might not know where I'm going. I might not know what I'm doing, but I know that if I am continuing to take steps in this direction that my intuition is guiding me on, then I'm going to get there. And I do feel like we're going to feel that a bit and feel that support from the universe, even if we are navigating a bit on some blind faith, right? But we're leaning in the direction of what it is that most aligns for us, what is going to be best for our highest and best good. And again, that may require us to take a look at some difficult truths, or to make some changes in our lives that are challenging. But I feel like there's also a bit of an excited energy about where things are going next, and taking a look at the big picture with that. We also have the Temperance card in reverse. So there are some things that will continue to feel a little bit stuck, that will continue to feel challenging right now, okay? We're still waiting on divine timing with some things, aren't we always? And so you may not necessarily see certain things happening here in this week, but you may feel them coming. You might begin to get a sense of the energy coming into your experience. I'm also getting the sense, and this is not necessarily the traditional meaning of this card, but I'm hearing redirection is God's protection, right? So wherever we're being redirected, whether it's not the right timing, the right circumstances, listen to that. Pay attention to that. Don't fight that. This is a time to flow if we can do that, okay? And this is a time to clear out, Queen of Swords, what we need to release, or to set boundaries in the ways that we need them. And if people can rise up and honor that, fantastic. Then we have communicated, and that's working, and that they have heard that, and they have clearly heard that and clearly understood that. But if they're not, then we also have to be willing to say, okay, I've set this boundary. You're not willing to follow through with this, so I've got to make some changes. This isn't going to work. And so we might be taking a look at that. But I also feel like this Queen of Swords, like, she's sitting in her chair very clear on things and understands things. And again, she might not like it, or she might be very excited about where she's going, but she's clear and she understands. And the Queen of Swords doesn't, a lot of the sword cards have clouds around it. The Queen of Swords is a card where the clouds are behind. Things are starting to float to the surface. We're starting to understand the reason behind some of the things that we've experienced, or we're just starting to understand what it is that we need to do, even if we don't like it. The next card that we have here is the Hierophant. By honoring our commitments to ourselves, because that's what I feel like this is in a lot of ways, is we're saying, you know what? I made a commitment to myself and I'm going to honor it. And I really feel us stepping into our power with that. By honoring our commitments to ourselves, I feel like we are creating other commitments in our life that better serve us. So this could look like, for example, you honor your commitment at your work, and you go and you have a conversation with your boss and you say, hey, listen, this is the way that things have been going down, and this is what I've really been needing, and I don't really feel like I'm getting that, and I need X, Y, and Z. And through honoring that, we see, you know, the boss stepping in and saying, you know what, okay, I hear you, I understand, and I'm willing to give you X, Y, and Z. And there's like this commitment that comes through us honoring our commitments. Other commitments that are positive and right and most aligned for us are coming through. So this is, I think, a really exciting energy. Although I still feel like very intense, and this isn't easy stuff that we're dealing with energetically right now. I also pulled the Earth and the Lookup card. So taking time this week to connect with the Earth, to connect with the sky, to remember who you are is what I'm hearing. Remember who you are. And part of remembering who you are is remembering that you are one with God, with the universe, whatever it is that you want to call that. And that you are powerful with God, and that through working together with God, you absolutely can navigate this life in a really powerful way, in the most aligned way that's meant for you. And so taking a little time to connect this week, right? Whether that's through meditation, whether that's through spending time outside, whether that's through literally standing on the earth and looking up at the stars. I think that there's a lot of value in that this week. I think that there's a lot of healing in that this week. And I think that we'll find ourselves connecting that much more with our intuition and with this clarity that we're needing to connect to. But we also need to remember that we are in this world, but we are part of this world too. And everything is connected, everyone is connected, and we are always divinely supported and divinely guided through this entire journey. And I feel like there's something about connecting in that way that will help to remind us of that. So I hope that those messages resonate with you. If they do, please make sure you like this video. If you're watching this on my YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really helps us support the channel. If you think this will resonate with somebody else, make sure you share it as well or tag them below. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care, guys.